So we saw both the good and the bad side of this Arsenal team here last night in Athens. This is the Olympiacos versus Arsenal match review. Hello, my name is Richard. Welcome back to my channel over and over again, the Positive Arsenal channel. In this video, I'm going to look back on last night's 3-1 victory here in Athens against Olympiacos in the last 16 of the Europa League. I will look at the team selection. I'm going to analyse the performance and I'm going to select a man of the match. Just before I get into all that, I want to make sure that you are subscribing to my channel. If you're new here, you like a bit of Positive Arsenal content, please click on the button down in the corner there. Please give this video a like as well. Share the content around. And if you've got any comments at all to make about the performance last night or anything else to do with Arsenal, please drop them in the comments box below, as I do love to hear from you guys. And I do try to reply to as many as I can. So in the end, Mikel Arteta made just 2 changes to the starting 11 from the side that had drawn 1-1 at Burnley at the weekend. They were both in the back four. It's like he's unsure what his best defence is at the moment. But anyway, we started like this. It was Bernd Leno in goal. The first change was at right back. Hector Bellerin came back in, having missed the last 2 matches. The centre-back pairing this time was a different one. Again, it was David Luiz and Gabriel who came in for Pablo Mari. A little bit of a shock there because Pablo Mari's been playing pretty well. But that was the other change there. So Kieran Tierney again was at left back. The 2 in midfield were the same as the weekend. So it was Thomas Partey and Granit Xhaka who kept his place despite his mistake for the goal against Burnley. And the front 4 again was the same as the weekend. So it was Bukayo Saka on the right, Willian on the left, Martin Odegaard in the number 10 position, and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang through the centre. Not really too many surprises there. Maybe Willian over Pepe was a little bit of a shock. He didn't have the greatest game against Burnley, but he has been making an impact in the recent games. So I suppose we can't be too surprised about that. But that was the side that started for us. In terms of Olympiacos, they had a few issues defensively. Barr was actually named in the starting lineup, but had to pull out with a back injury that's been bothering him recently. And of course, Socrates was in their back four. It meant Jan Anvia, of course, who's been linked to Arsenal over a number of years, hasn't he? Midfield player, was forced to play in defence for them. So they had to make a little bit of a reshuffle. Of course, up front, they had El Arabi, who of course had scored the winning goal in this tie last season at the Emirates. So they were your lineups for this game. Well, this was an Arsenal performance that had pretty much everything, didn't it? It had some really good stuff, some really good football. We dominated much of the game, but also as well, it was sprinkled in with these mistakes defensively that we continue to make, gifting goals and gifting chances to the opponents. Luckily for us, we wasn't really punished on this occasion, but against better teams, I'm sure we will be. And we're going to have to cut this out if we want to progress much further in this competition. We got off to a great start in this game, didn't we? We could have been 2-0 up inside the first 5 minutes. Odegaard missed a great chance early on when Kieran Tierney pulled the ball back to him about 12 yards out on his left foot. Really should have put the ball in a corner, but he snatched at it a little bit and it went wide of the post. And then Aubameyang got a good header in from a Hector Bellerin cross. It actually came off Socrates' shoulder and the goalkeeper managed to push it onto the underside of the crossbar. And that start really summed up how Arsenal played for the first 20-25 minutes. Dominated the game, made some good passing movements, really good football actually that we played. Just couldn't quite get the goal. Of course, we still managed to make a few mistakes at the back. Odegaard gifted the ball to an Olympiacos player, gave them an opportunity to score. And then later on, David Luiz was also robbed inside the penalty area, and luckily the Olympiacos forward on that occasion fired wide of the goal. So the mistakes were still being made, but luckily not being punished. However, we did get the goal we deserved in that first half. 38th minute it was, and a great goal too. Martin Odegaard cut in from the right hand side. He always looked like he wanted to shoot. About 25 yards out he smashed it with his left foot. It bent away from the goalkeeper into the roof of the net. A really good strike. Yes, maybe the goalkeeper could have done better with it, but there's no denying it was a great goal. His first goal for Arsenal, his first goal for over a year, and it gave us a really important lead as well. At half-time, Olympiacos made a couple of changes, not only to the personnel but to their system as well. They went to a 3 at the back, and it seemed to give them a bit of a lift actually. We didn't seem to be able to cope with that change particularly well, and they did get themselves level just before the hour mark. Again, it was a disastrous goal to concede from Arsenal's point of view. I don't know quite what Bernd Leno was doing so far out of his goal. But anyway, Gabriel passed the ball back to him. He had a few options, instead chose to pass to Dani Ceballos, who had only just come on for the tiring Thomas Partey. He was closed down quickly by El Arabi, took the ball off him, and then he had the simple task to stroke the ball into the corner of an empty net, with Leno miles out of position. And these are the sort of mistakes that's going to cost us later on in this competition against far better opposition than Olympiacos. We did look shaky for about 10 or 15 minutes after that. El Arabi had another opportunity which was deflected wide by Hector Bellerin. But in the end, our quality did show, and we did manage to win the game and put us in a great position to progress through. 79th minute, we regained the lead. An unusual goal for Arsenal from a set piece. It was a short corner this time. Willian whipped the ball in, and Gabriel arrived at the far post. A really powerful header into the far corner of the net. Just his desire to get there was fantastic. It was a header very reminiscent of Tony Adams from back in the day, also wearing the number 6 shirt as well. The VAR seemed to get involved in that for some reason afterwards, maybe because Mvia was pretending to be injured following the challenge from Gabriel, but there was clearly nothing wrong with it. Really good header, really good goal, and it put us ahead. At that time, Mikel Arteta made a triple substitution, actually, one of which was actually Mohamed El Neni, who came on. I know there's a few eyebrows raised, but at that stage, maybe with us 2-1 up, it seemed like perhaps a sensible decision to try to seal out the game. In fact, it got better than that because it was El Neni himself just a few minutes later who scored the third goal. What a great goal it was as well. Strode forward from midfield and then smashed a shot into the far corner off the post to make it 3-1. That's his third goal for Arsenal. All of them have been very similar strikes from distance. It's just a shame he doesn't do that more often. So overall, we've got to be pleased with a really good 3-1 victory in the away leg. It does make next week's game slightly more comfortable perhaps, but as we know from last year, we can't take this for granted. We still need to be on our game next week, keep it nice and tight, manage that game well and progress into the quarterfinals. But let's be honest here, we're still making the same silly mistakes. We're still gifting teams goals far too easily. Once again, Olympiacos didn't have to work hard for their goal or any of their opportunities against us last night. We were gifting it to them with poor passing and trying to play a system at the back that just doesn't really suit the players that we've got. I know Arteta wants us to play that way, but until we've got the right personnel who can do it effectively, we're always going to leave ourselves vulnerable. And I say, against better teams, we are going to come unstuck. But that's for another day. But it was a good performance overall, and we need to take the positives from it and move forward now, hopefully, into the quarterfinal. So in terms of man of the match then, I mean, there was a few good performances, wasn't there? Leno didn't cover himself in glory with the goal. I don't quite know what he's doing positionally, and it wasn't a great pass into Ceballos. Other than that, he didn't have a lot to do again, did he? We're not conceding many chances in open play. Most of them are coming from our own mistakes. So he did okay, Leno, but I actually thought it was his fault for that goal. I thought the back four overall were pretty good. Bellerin got forward really well, put some good deliveries in. I thought he had a decent game. David Luiz as well, I thought he was solid at the back again. Apart from that one mistake, again, trying to play it out from the back. Other than that, I thought he had a decent game. And of course, Kieran Tierney at left back likes to get forward. He got forward well, put some good deliveries in as well. Maybe it wasn't his greatest game, but again, even when he's slightly off the ball, he's still a fantastic performer, isn't he? The two in midfield did all right. I thought Granit Xhaka put the weekend behind him. I thought he looked a lot better last night. I thought his passing was good and he was trying to keep the ball moving. Thomas Partey I was a little bit disappointed in. I don't think he's 100% fit, because if he is, his performances are certainly very underwhelming. He ended up coming off quite early in the second half last night. Whether that's looking ahead slightly to the weekend, I'm not sure. But he certainly needs to get himself fitter maybe, because he certainly didn't look that great last night. Gave the ball away a lot. I thought the front four were okay. Willian looked lively in the early stages. Again, he faded out of the game as he's tended to do quite a lot recently. Saka, he's looking tired, but again, he's always a threat, isn't he? Every time he gets the ball, they spent the first half kicking him because they couldn't deal with him. Once again, he had a decent game, but I say he is looking a little bit tired. And Odegaard, of course, what a great goal that was from outside the box. Yes, he gave the ball away a few times, but he looks lovely with the ball at his feet, picking out some great passes, and he had another decent game. And of course, Aubameyang didn't really get that many opportunities, did he? That was an early header. I thought he worked quite hard, but it wasn't to be his night, was it? But for me, there's only one man of the match in this game. A little bit of a controversial selection, maybe. Certainly, I felt it was. But Gabriel at the back, I thought he had a really solid game defensively, and he did score that really important second goal, and that gave us the victory that I think is important after what happened to us last year. So yeah, for me, the man of the match last night has to go to Gabriel. So a really big victory in the end, wasn't it? Yes, it doesn't paper over the mistakes that we're making, but ultimately in a two-legged European tie, if you score 3 away goals in the first leg, get a comfortable victory, you've got to be happy with that, and it's going to make us massive favourites now to go through, I say, to the quarterfinals. We still need to make sure that we don't take next week for granted. We know what happened last year, but with 3 away goals and the 2-goal advantage, we would have to lose 3-0 next week at home, and this Olympiacos side do not seem capable of doing that. So we need to be confident of getting through, but we still need to make sure we cut out these silly mistakes. As Mikel Arteta said after the game, it's a matter of knowing when to go long and when to go short. I don't necessarily blame the players for that. I think it's been drilled into them to try and play it out from the back. So quite often their first thought is to play it short because that's what they're being trained to do. And maybe it's going to take a little bit more time to really get this working. But I don't really blame the players too much for that. But it is something that needs to be worked on in training, and they need to get it right, because I say against a better team, we are going to be punished, certainly later on in this competition. So that's my review there of last night's good victory in the end here in Olympiacos in the Europa League. Coming up on the channel, I've got some great stuff tonight. I've got my North London Derby warm-up show. I've got some great guests coming on, doing all the usual stuff. There's going to be a match preview, and I've got a little picture quiz as well, North London Derby picture quiz. That's going to be good as well. That's at 7 o'clock tonight, so please stay tuned for that. I will also have my preview video of the North London Derby coming out tomorrow on the channel around about lunchtime, so stay tuned for that as well. And then on Sunday, of course, there'll be a watch-along of the big game from the Emirates, of course, against Tottenham. That's 4:30 kickoff, so I'll probably go live about 4:15 with a team news, a bit of build-up, and then, of course, full match commentary and analysis. And then after the game on Sunday, there'll be a fan cam show reaction after the game, which could be interesting depending on how the game's gone. So loads coming up on the channel. So if you haven't done so already, please click on the subscribe button down in the corner there. Please give this video a like as well if you enjoyed it, and please share the content around as well. Drop any comments in the box, what you thought of last night's performance, who your man of the match was, and any thoughts you've got heading into this big North London derby at the weekend as well. So thanks for watching this show. Thanks for supporting the channel. I say stay tuned, loads coming up. Please like, please subscribe. And in the meantime, of course, heading into a massive game, isn't it, this weekend, the North London derby. Come on, you Gunners!